Morning, Vanlife Cameraman Jeremy here. This weekend I'm at Brands Hatch, southeast London. Very grand looking main building behind me with the sun just coming up onto it. A lot of people here this weekend. I turned up last night about 11 o'clock at night and there were this many vehicles. This was all full last night, so really off to a cracking start this morning. So they're just parking up. These are all the residential vehicles, campervans and things, and to the left there are all the trucks with all the cars in. So the mechanics will be busy in their garages unloading. There are 36 garages at Brands Hatch, 34 of which I believe are being used for teams, and the rest are for scrutineers and all the judges. There's my camper van. Got a lovely little spot by the oil waste disposal area. Lucky me, but it's got electric hookup. See some cars going in there. So today they're going to be qualifying and practicing, I think. Don't think they're going to be doing, well, I know they're not going to be doing any racing. Not today. There's the track at the moment. It's quite quiet, obviously. There's a few maintenance vehicles going around that will be sweeping the track and preparing it for. There's a tractor over in the distance there. It has brushes on the back, and that will ensure that there's no gravel and grit and mud on the track, because it was raining last night. Thankfully that's stopped. So they'll carry on going round for a while until the qualifying starts, and then it will start to queue up around here. Actually, all the vehicles that are on the track will come along here. They will then queue up, go through those gates over there and into the track and go straight down, and they go around that way past the big building, around the back through the trees, and then back down here right past the back of the van, and that's a very short lap indeed. Right, let's have a look inside the van, what we've got. So the usual setup. I've got my camera mounted on a homemade tripod block. So this is attached to my kitchen area, keeps it secure when I'm travelling, and also it stops me from kicking it during the day. I'll be in and out of the van. Of course, the problem is if the camera's on the floor down here, then it's going to get kicked. Got my comfy bed over there, looking nice. Had my electric blanket on last night, which kept me warm. That's still on because we've got electric hookup today, so I can afford to waste the electricity all day. My kettle, got a nice cup of coffee on the go. Just have a quick look at my driver cab. So I keep my secret squirrel stash of spare camera and tripod there, and that's really only for when I pull into service stations. I don't want the whole world seeing that I've got lots of cameras in here. So this is one of the last two events this year for 2025 for us. We're going to film this, and then in about 2 weeks time we'll be filming at Liddon Hill, which is another circuit down near Dover, not far from here actually, which is Rallycross, which is where the cars go round a similarly small track up some hills and round, and then they go off-road and over a big jump. It's really popular. Used to be on the TV. Murray Walker commentating it many years ago, but it's not a major television event now, but it still gets tens of thousands of people watching the live stream. And because this is the last event of the year that will be coming up in a couple of weeks, they have a firework display and they race at night. So they bring in loads of floodlights to the track and they light the whole track up, like Singapore, like the Grand Prix. They'll light the whole track up. They'll race at night, and then we have to film it. And then also they have a firework display at the end, so we'll film that. And that's kind of the last event for 2025. So after that, I don't know what I'm doing really. Got to find myself some other sport to film. Football, equestrian. Gonna have to get onto those guys. So today we're going to be setting up the track with all the cameras. So we've got about 5 or 6 points where we can put cameras. And depending on the activity on the track today, which is going to be mainly practice and qualifying. So depending on the activity on the track will depend on when we're allowed to go into the red zones, which are generally the zones by the corners. And then we can leg it in there for an hour. We can set up 1 or 2 cameras without causing any problems. So we keep an eye on when the lunch break is, and we keep an eye on when the track officials allow us to get on there to do those particular things. So there's a couple of inside track areas, but the rest of it we can do all around the outskirts of the track, so we can do that during race times or qualifying times. So the great thing about that is we can get 3/4 of the work done while the racing goes on. Then when they stop it, we can leg it and do it. Down behind my van here is an area where there's a marshal post right below where my van is, and there's a post, concrete and steel post there we can attach a camera to, and that gives us a fly past down the bottom of Brands Hatch. So all the cars will whiz past. We can't put a cameraman there because it's a red zone. It would be too dangerous and disallowed. But it does make good footage for sure. It's pretty. It's a pretty stock shot really for us and anybody else that's doing this kind of thing. We'll always use this shot as an additional, and the director, can cut to it at any point in time as part of the camera loop. So you'll go camera 1, camera 2, camera 3. Camera 4 is often the lock off, the fly past camera. Then it goes up over the other side of Brands Hatch. And then you've got another camera 5 up there. Then you've got a camera, not likely to be a camera 6 this weekend actually. It goes back to 1, which is the straight from the roof of the Brands Hatch building. Racing's on. Cars are all turning up, getting noise tested. This guy tests them, see if they pass the noise test. So they're all queuing up now. This will be qualifying at the moment. And they're all going around the track. So some of the qualifying's already begun. We start work about, I don't think we start till about 12 actually. Busy, isn't it, this week? Busy. So, plenty of spectators as well. These are usually the teams, because they're allowed in the pits here. This is the garage side of the pits, the back end. They're all allowed around here. Whereas they, if they were spectators, they'd be in the grandstands. There's always someone standing by my van, whatever the situation is. This is Parc Ferme. This is where they'll queue up for the next qualifying heat, I guess. I tend to work over there. in that garage, and then down the front side of the pits as well. So I run up and down the pits. Come in here and do some interviews sometimes, see a few other media, a few teams waiting. Marshall's doing their marshal thing. So this is the scrutineers bit I'm walking into now. This is where they'll weigh the cars sometimes. I'm actually going to look for a TV point in here, so our commentator could possibly watch the live action. Doesn't appear to be one. Well, he'll just have to walk down. This is where we do the interviews at the end. Cars put in there. We interview the drivers. And these are the teams, all supporting their drivers. And depending on what the format of the racing this weekend will depend on how much running up and down this pit lane I have to do. Some of the longer races have mandatory pit stops, which I do get roped into running up and down for the whole race, but they're usually the 40-minute races. But if they're all sprints, I just do the interviews at the end, and I do the cars leaving at the beginning. So it just largely depends on what the format is, which I haven't been sent yet. There's all the trophies. Cars being scrutinised as we speak over the weighbridge. They also have to test their ride height as well, because they're not allowed to be too low to the ground, I think is what that is. So they put those little mirrors underneath, maybe to see if they've got some illegal air spoilers underneath. There's my van, still in its spot. I'm going to go and chill out in there for a minute. And here's the other camera. So we'll be using this tonight because they want us to film some prize givings, and they want us to live stream it, which is pretty unusual, but we managed to pull it together. Let's get that exposure down a little bit. There you go. So this image is being beamed up to the director's room. So the director's room up in the top of the building, where I showed you yesterday, that's where all the directing is done from. So this sits on my little cradle in here, this camera, and then I hoik it onto my shoulder and run up and down the pits when required and do interviews as required. I've got a microphone so they can hear us, and I've also got a headset so I can hear them giving me directions. End of a long 3 days. Oh. So Friday was setup day. It was a nice sunny day. Saturday was pretty dry and pretty mild, and we did the racing on Saturday. And then today was just sprint after sprint after sprint. And they didn't book a lunch break into the day's events. I've never known that before. They just ran straight through. I think it's because it starts later on a Sunday. So it ran through from 10 a.m. until about, well, it ran through till about 5:30, but I left about 5 because I had to go and do this evening stream. So it's now, it is 7:15. So I finished about an hour ago, but we spent an hour packing up in the dark. So we packed some of that kit that we put out on Friday
that had to be left because we did the night stream and or the evening stream, and it just got packed up about half an hour ago. So that was pretty good. So yeah, the weekend was no different to normal, 12 or 15 hours a day, 3 days, and then it's all over. And I'm not back until Liddon Hill, which is down near Dover, and that's Rally Gross, and that's in 2 weeks. So it's going to be 2 weeks before I do another job. So I'm going to have to amuse myself a little bit. I might get some corporate stuff in the meantime. So yeah, I've made a YouTube video for this particular event. Very, very basic. Just a little taster, really, of what we get up to. And then I shall make another one at Liddon Hill. Similar kind of thing. Just